Okay, so hello again. Today we are going to be talking about rocks. And apologies for not figuring out how to make my presentation full screen, but I think we can see it all okay. So I really wanted to focus on rocks being messengers of deep time. Rocks are, the most kind of stable thing in our environment. Um, we have very, very, very old rocks on Earth. And because some rocks have been around for such a long time, I mean, just imagine what they might have seen. And this little photo here in the center is from Gary, and we're going to have him tell us about it later, but he says his favorite rock is within this rock work somewhere. All right. Can you see the 8 verses?
We could a minute ago. Oh,
Yeah.
go to the next slide. Click on the next little one on the bottom.
Yeah, on my thing it's showing it, but not, I can tell, not on yours.
It did before.
I
Hmm.
know. Oh, this is exciting. Here, let's see. Oh, there we
There.
are. We're going with that. Howla. Here are the 8 phrases, and I got these right off of Teacher Way's website, and I'll just read them so we can get into our beautiful Mingjue field state and receive this beautiful information about rocks. Head expands into the sky, feet into the earth, deep into the earth. Body is relaxed, mind expands out. Be respectful, quiet inside. The mind is clear, the appearance is humble. The mind is still. The mind expands out to the vast void. Illuminate deep inside. The whole body is harmonized with chi. Harmonized with chi. So I was inspired to talk about rocks today because I was visiting Mount Lassen last weekend, and I love this photo from 1915 where the photographer labels this large boulder hot rock. And you can see in the background, there's the exploding volcano, and that huge hot rock was just born, just flew out of the mountain. And I got to go say hi to this very rock. It's now part of a interpretive exhibit. And I just thought it was so cool how we knew what this rock's birthday was. This rock's birthday is May 22nd, 1915. And that other similar rocks around this rock, um, we don't know their birthdays because they were on the order of, I don't know, 28,000 years old. And I just thought it was really, really interesting how diverse rocks are, how some rocks are really very, very old, some are very young. And just to kind of, again, imagine what these humble rocks that we interact with every day and walk on and throw and collect, what they must have seen. And I also think it's really interesting how humans, we all gravitate towards rocks. There's all these wonderful rituals and traditions that we have around rocks. Oh, here we are. So this picture of the rock on the left is the oldest rock in, or the oldest type of rock in the world. It's called Acasta gneiss, and it's found in Canada, and it's 4.02 billion years old. I mean, that's just incredible. Those rocks basically saw the formation of the Earth, and they're still out there just hanging around being rocks today. Of course, the youngest rocks are literally being born today in active volcanoes like on Hawaii, Kilauea, and um, Mount Etna and Mount Stromboli. And again, just imagining the deep, deep time. I mean, us humans, we can maybe imagine our lifetimes, maybe 100 years, maybe we can imagine 500 years, 1,000 years. It's getting a little difficult to conceptualize. 10,000 years, eesh, like it's hard for our brains to really grasp. But when we're in the realm of rock time, of geologic time, that's deep. That's like Mingjue entirety time. Vast, mostly empty. So just a little bit of science. In general, we consider there to be three different types of rocks. Igneous. So these are rocks born from volcanoes, right? Directly from fire and molten transformation. So very, very hot um, formation temperatures. So granite, for example, is an igneous rock. And that rock that was labeled hot rock, that would be an igneous rock. Then we have sedimentary rocks, and they're not built from heat and fire, but built slowly through patient accumulation. So slowly, sediment accumulates in layers over and over and over and over again and goes through a little bit of compaction and becomes a rock, becomes sedimentary rock. So that's like limestone and sandstone. Not a lot of heat and pressure, some to form it into a cohesive rock, but mostly just slow, patient accumulation. And then there's metamorphic rocks. Now, these rocks they often start out as sedimentary rocks, and then under immense pressure and long periods of time, they alchemize. So they take what had accumulated in the sedimentary rock and slowly, under pressure and heat of the earth as they're buried, form into something totally new. So, um, marble and slate, for example. So limestone, the sedimentary rock, turns into marble, and sandstone, the sedimentary rock, turns into slate when it's buried deep, deep in the earth. And then these metamorphic rocks, we'd never see them if not for mountain making processes. So by the movement of the tectonic plates and the land and the formation of mountains, these metamorphic rocks are actually thrust upward and they reach the light of day where we can enjoy them. So yes, humans, we love rocks. We love holding them in our hands. I mean, we have worry stones, right? We like to keep one in our pocket and rub it as a way of calming our nervous systems. In the 1970s, somebody made a lot of money selling rocks with little eyes on them. like, like pet rocks were popular. So I feel like this speaks to something deep in our human psyche. And like I was talking about before the presentation, humans, we have this collecting impulse. Like I don't know, I want to pick up rocks. My kids want to pick up rocks. We want to collect them and hold them and enjoy them and bring them home and put them out for display. It's something that I'm not going to even try to understand, um, but it's there, and I think we all can identify with that. stones in at least our pre-modern ancestral past were also seen as guardians and protectors. So there's some ancient traditions in Scandinavia and then also in Welsh parts of putting different types of rocks, often in pairs, around doorways. Um, I actually practice, I actually do this practice several years ago when I was really shoring up the energy of my house. I learned this method and I went to the local river where these river-worn rocks are so hard, right? Just imagine what is left after a roaring river pummels rocks for tens of thousands of years. So whatever's left, they're like the toughest, strongest rocks on the block, right? Like literally the rocks at the river near my house, the Russian River near my house, literally those rocks were mined to build the skyscrapers in San Francisco. So these are tough rocks. Um, so I went and I did a little ceremony and I asked if there were any rocks that were interested in coming to protect my home. And it was fascinating how energetically, um, 14-ish rocks like popped up. Like the energy was like little soldiers popping up, ready at attention, excited for their mission. And they just asked that when I moved out of the house that I return them. And I have two at every doorway of my house. In the least, they're very pretty. Cornerstones are traditionally put, they have a physical structural component, but also spiritually, cornerstones were important when creating buildings and putting strong intentions, cohesive healing intentions into the building. And hearthstones are considered to be the sacred center of one's home, containing the hearth and the fireplace. And yeah, again, also building one's house on the strongest, most durable, long-lasting material that is known, both for physical strength and also for, in my opinion, energetic strength. I had to mention stone circles like Stonehenge, these mysterious stone artifacts left that we still don't really know what their purpose was. But I do believe that each of the stones involved in these ceremonial structures were chosen with deep intention. And what I've learned is that each of the stones in these stone circles are considered to be very, very deep and wise sage presences. So each of the stones has their own wisdom, their own personality, their own history, etc. And that these stones, they're huge, right? You can see, maybe you can see in the right hand corner, there's a little silhouette of a person. These stones are huge, but that they actually extend deep into the earth. Um, Maybe almost or more tall than they are above ground. They're very large stones. Just wanted to talk about cairns, which are practical trail markers. If you're ever backpacking in California, where I live, it's hard to find the trail sometimes. So people will put up these cairns to help travelers find their way. Um, so they have practical purposes, but also deep spiritual significance as places like mini mountains, places of deep power and contemplation. Each stone that was placed in these cairns often comes with its own set of intentions and blessings. Some of the cairns, especially throughout Europe, are very, very old and huge, these huge piles of rocks that people over the centuries have added to rock by rock. In the Nordic tradition, these cairns are seen as gateways between the earthly and supernatural realms. So I mentioned at the beginning, some of the inspiration for this topic was just the rock's ability to hold messages throughout deep time. And I thought of Mount Rushmore, or this is the being completed image of Crazy Horse, how long these images will be etched in these rock walls. And I was reminded of it's the three body problem, the third book of the three body problem book. There are these dystopian, kind of fascinating sci-fi books. But in the end of Death's End, one of the characters wants to figure out a way of preserving a message to humanity throughout deep time. So it's very essential that he gets this message and is able to convey this message that will last, I forget, hundreds of thousands of years, we'll say. And with all the technology they have and all the amazing ideas they have, the best way that they figure out to communicate a message through deep time is by etching it on stone. So, rocks, they're like the gold standard. They're the best way of communicating messages through long, long, long periods of time after everything else has been decayed and destroyed and broken down. Rocks are all that's left. And we also see this in petroglyphs, of course. We have these ancient, tens of thousands of years old petroglyphs that we talked about a few weeks ago in caves that remain because they were etched in stone. So in Native American traditions, rocks are seen as being sentient beings and they hold memories. And I had a teacher many years ago named Gray Wolf. And he taught me how to ask permission before collecting stones, which I had not done before then and didn't know about. So he showed me how you could offer sacred reciprocity by maybe giving a piece of your hair, singing a song, offering a prayer, or even what he described as giving some of your waters, which it's some of your spit, basically, to give to the earth. And he said that was acceptable. And he also taught me another way of interacting with the rock people that didn't involve taking the rock home, that I still like to practice today. So what he shared was after asking permission and offering sacred reciprocity, that you could breathe your intentions into the stones, right? You could breathe the Mingjue love, you could breathe the Mingjue peace, breathe the Mingjue happiness and gratitude, and really infuse that into this stone. And then you could place the stone into a sacred or a sacred place. He showed me that you could throw it into a body of water. But then that stone then will act as this beacon of your best intentions throughout deep time. Again, I mean, just imagine who is going to be the next person. If you throw the stone in a lake, who will be the next person to encounter that stone? It may take, I don't know, 1,000 years for it to get back onto the shore. So I thought that practice was really, really fun. And I wanted to practice something similar with you all today. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, hi, Trudy. Nice to see you. I hope you all brought some rocks. And if you didn't, I know you all have like tons in your house. So I'm going to grab, let's see, which rocks am I going to grab? I'm going to grab some rocks. I'll just invite you to hold your rocks. And something that is often done is the energy of the rocks is cleared. And since we're, in a at Jennings Qigong science practice, my favorite way of clearing energy, which is to say, just ensuring that we're dealing with cohesive energy so that we're just harmonizing anything that's blocked, is to chant the Huanyan Ling Tong mantra. So I thought that we could do that together. You can have your video or your audio on or off if you wish. And we could just chant Huanyan Ling Tong with the intention of purifying the field and energy of our beautiful rocks we brought here today. And if you'd like, you can sit with your hands in La Chi facing the rocks. Huan Yuan Lin Tong. 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 So we're imagining pulling in Huanyan Qi, pulling it in, seeing that cohesive Mingjue love energy flowing through our hands into the rocks, going to any of the places that need harmonizing, and having that harmonizing energy blast through the rocks, purifying any dense energies they may have picked up over there, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, whatever years old of age. So now that our rocks have been purified, I will invite you to pick an intention to infuse them with. And that could be anything. That could be just, Mingjue mantra. That could be love, peace, happiness, whatever is in your heart to share out with the world. Um, and I'm going to play a song that is sung by an old teacher of mine, Judith Tripp, who taught me all about standing stones. And I think this is her chant, her song for the stone people. So I'll play the song and I'll just invite you to infuse your stones with all of your good intentions.
Beams of stone, take us to our ancient home. Infuse your wisdom straight to the bone. Beings of stone, take us to our ancient home. Infuse your wisdom straight to the bone. Beams of stone, take us to our ancient home. Infuse your wisdom straight to the bone. Beams of stone, take us to our ancient home. Infuse your wisdom straight to the bone. Beams of stone, take us to our ancient home. Infuse your wisdom straight to the bone.
Just breathing with your stones. Imagining them holding this good information through deep time out into the future, far past your lifetime, far past your children's lifetime and their children's lifetime and their children's lifetime. Just imagine our emanations of love spreading powerfully and kept forever in these humble stones. Hola. Thanks for playing with the stone people with me. And I'll just open it up if anyone wants to share about their rocks or their experience or anything at all. Yeah, Gary.
Yeah, the picture I sent you, I know that you can't see it, but the history of that stone, it was large, I mean, really large, and it was full of crystals. And it came out of a copper mine in Arizona. And I used to work there, and outside of the company house where I lived was this huge stone. And I kind of adopted it. And when I left, they let me take the stone. And so it had been to a couple different places that we lived. And when we moved into that house that was in the picture, you couldn't, I tried to get a picture of the stone, but it was from another picture. And, we'd done the walkway up to the front door, with little pillars going up. And at the top pillar, I had the guy put that huge stone in there. And naturally, Karen and I thought we were going to live there forever. And of course, we haven't. And so I suspect the stone is still there. And I think of it often. Uh, so that was the story around that stone. It was really a huge rock full of this stuff. And I don't know, it came out of a copper mine, but I don't know much more about it than that. Uh, and then when we were in France, this has been years ago, we came across a place called Alignments de Carmario. And it was just like football fields in length of stones, large stones that were just one right after another down the line. And a lot of them, I don't know if you can see this, a lot of them were like Stonehenge type.
Can you move it up a little, maybe?
Yeah,
Or higher? Higher. Oh, almost. A little higher. Yeah. Oh, that's it. We can see it. Yeah, it looks like Stonehenge.
yeah, it was a lot smaller than that. And that's Karen's favorite rock.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
I,
Carol.
I wasn't, I wasn't supposed to show that. And there's a bunch, they were just like that. And I don't know much about it other than that was the name of the place where it was. And you can see some of the lines of stone. So if you're ever over there, check Alignments de Camario.
Where is it
And
again, Gary?
it's in France.
Okay.
Beautiful. I haven't heard of that before. It looks like another mysterious,
Yeah, it is. It's very,
energetically dense and important.
and
Yeah.
a lot of the buildings in that area, the old old homes and that are built out of stone, big stones from that area. So it's interesting. Then I don't know if anybody else is from Iowa, but there's the famous Stone City where all the stone comes from out of this stone mine, and different buildings and stuff have been built uh, in the area out of the stone from Stone City. That's all I had.
Thank you, Gary. You have a lot of stone connections.
Yeah, really.
Thank you for sharing. Is that the house that you where the stone was placed? Is that where you just moved from, or is that an even previous house?
That was
Yeah.
previous.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure it's still there.
I think so.
Yep. Yep. It's hard to move a big rock.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. Howla. Howla to the
Thank you.
stones. Thank you.
Do you want to share?
Anyone else want to share about the rocks you brought today? Or just favorite rocks or rock stories? Go ahead, Suan.
Well, I brought this rock in 2002. I went to France to Domaine des Courmettes, which is above Nice in the foothills of the French Alps, and there are a lot of old Roman roads that ran. It was where we had it was with Fabien Maman, which was all sound, color, qigong, and we had a Druid priestess for one of the weeks who was instructing us on all the sacred trees and stars, and that's some of what I share in our solstice work. But she took us to the Druid woods. This is where the trees were somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 years old. And I actually collected this rock there. We did a meditation in the wood with these they're ancient oaks, and some of them had been destroyed the year before in a terrible storm. It was the first time any of them had any damage to them. But I've kept this rock, and that summer was magical for me. And so this rock reminds me of the magic of the Druid woods. And I felt so at home. I think I must have been there as a monk in a past lifetime, because I came home and I felt so I just felt so good. And I felt so good the whole time I was there. It was just magical. It was like it was home. So this rock is home, and my home that I've lived in for 25 years is pinned into a huge rock. It's all rock underneath. The part of the basement that's not finished is all rocks. You go in there and you can climb around on the rocks, and there's veins of crystal, quartz crystal in the rocks around here. And so I'm on a ledge. It's 500 feet down, drop from the ledge here. So rocks have been really important. I mean, as you were doing this presentation, it brought back all these memories. When I was 5, for Christmas, I got one of those little red medical bags with all of the, doctor's stethoscope and stuff. And the first year, I walked to school when I was 6, and I emptied that whole thing out. And I would walk along this little brook, and I would pick up rocks and put them in that little bag on the way to school. And I was out of space and time. And one day my mom came to me and she said, well, I got a message from your teacher that you've been late to school all week. What's going on? What are you doing? Why are you late to school? I send you in plenty of time to go get to school. And it was like that whole fantasy world I was in got shattered. Because I had to tell her that I was collecting rocks. And then I showed her my rock collection. And they understood, but, you need not to collect rocks anymore on the way to school. You can do it some other time. So it goes way back for me. The rock collecting has been ongoing in my life. So thank you for this presentation. It was just beautiful, and that chant was so beautiful. And anyhow, thanks.
Hola. Thank you, Swan. It's interesting that France is coming up tonight. I also here's my France rock. Looks kind of like yours, Swan. It's not from very far. This is from St. Baume, so Mary Magdalene's cave area. So this is from the top of the mountain. And I collected two of these, or I asked permission to collect two of these rocks. And one of them is actually buried with my grandma, whose name is Magdalene. So it's my Mary Magdalene rock from France. Hola. Did you want to share, Trudy? Is that your hand or?
I'll share. Suan, I'd love to come visit and sleep on your rocks. I too listen deeply to hear which rocks want to come home with me. Um, Rocks are such a strong foundation for me. I know every time I return home to Jamaica and the land welcomes me, but there is something about the rocks and the mountains that just embrace me. I get overwhelmed sometimes driving through the mountainous, rocky areas because I feel them coming to hug me so warmly and deeply. Sometimes it's overwhelming. I have a rock here that it has such character to me. I see the eyes, I see the nose. And I found this on the shore on one of my visits home. And I keep it close. I keep it on my ancestor altar. Um, and I've been to Stonehenge, and I met with um, one of my biggest fears, and I just recognized that when you're through the presentation. Cold. I'm from an island, a tropical island, and the cold there was so intense. But and I realized that that's something that I have been leaning into, the cold. And it's funny as I sit here that I met that there with those stones. So that 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 I will sit with some more on the meaning of that. Last year, as I was going through my ministry program, the deep alchemy of that program confronted me with lots of shadow work. And there's a mound in my backyard. I've been here 20 years in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Um, there's my stone again. Um, and there's a mound in my backyard that I've been here over 20 years, and I've never broached that side because somehow it felt sacred to me. But during that time, my first year of ministry training, in a most intense moment of that training, I found myself walking up to that mound and bringing some stone people, and they fortified me in a circle. They encircled me. I now have a prayer circle, a beautiful prayer circle that protected me and strengthened me and fed me, nourished me, and continues to do so. Um, these bones of the earth that, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that they spoke to me and I followed through in doing their will. That's my prayer circle. That's where I pray. That's where I pray for myself, my family, for my communities, for the world, for Mother Earth. Um, yeah. My family, when they come into my bed, they have to compete with all the rocks that sleep with me. Because yeah, they accompany me. Rocks are such a big part of me. I practice Ifa, a Yoruba tradition, and my guardian spirit is Obatala, who is the owner of the mountains and the rocks. So yeah, the stone people are very important to me, and I can't imagine um my my life without them. In my circle, I have rocks from the Vatican, from Chichen Itza, from all the places that hold sacred energies, and I feel well held and connected deeply to this Mother Earth of ours. Thank you for this presentation.
Thank you, Trudy. Thank you for bringing us that deep transmission of your old relationship with stones and the beautiful imagery and how you've surrounded yourself with them, quite literally. Yeah, the relationship is palpable. Thank you. Thank you for infusing our space. Are there any intentions that want to go into this deep field, either spoken out loud or just held in your heart?
I want to thank everyone for these beautiful shares. and just that intention of this deep time in the rocks and how much our experiences with rocks punctuate our lives from, I mean, every step really. So thank you. Um, so I want to put that in there, just the gratitude around our connection to the stone people. Um, and I'll also put Ben and Swaley and all of their loved ones in the field tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Ben and Soily, held by the strong foundation of rocks, that presence of deep time, the perspective of deep time. Thank you. Any other words or intentions? We are, if it's okay with you all, since I started a little late, to go 10 minutes over if you wanted to stay for a healing session. If you need to leave, totally understand. But, talking about deep time, like what's another 10 minutes, right? What's an hour? I don't know. Slipped out of my fingers. So yeah, if there's anything else that needs to be said, or shared or prayed for. Yes, Angie.
I wanted to put in Bobby and Caitlin and Alex and I and our relationships as we try to make this living situation work.
Hala, putting relationships in the field. Thanks, Angie.
I'd like to put Nick in the field. He on vacation, but I was just with him, and he's my niece's husband and father to the new baby, and to Sarah, he broke this bone, and he's driving to back to Charleston to have an operation on it tomorrow. So just keeping him in the field for everything to be perfect and beautiful.
Keeping Nick in the field and his bones. May they be infused by the stones. And throwing all of his medical providers, surgeons, doctors, nurses in there too. Hala. Okay. I'm going to bring you into deep geologic time for about 10 minutes. And I'll close the session quietly, so feel free to stay in the field. No need to come pop back up and say goodbye if you need more time. So finding your comfortable position and feeling the sturdiness of the earth and the rock beneath you. And we'll just really connect in deep with that earth's energy, the energy from the stone people, being aware of receiving the energy, but also being aware of allowing what no longer serves us to flow effortlessly into the deep earth, where its processes will alchemize and reuse and reinvent what we no longer need. through all of the beautiful geologic processes. Feeling that deep, energetic, reciprocal relationship between the earth and ourselves, and how we're constantly exchanging energy. And as we exchange energy, we are made anew, and the earth has the materials to be remade anew also. Feeling strengthened and emboldened by this sacred reciprocity with the stone people. And now balancing that connection out by imagining Huanyan Qi, heavenly energy flowing into the top of our head, flowing through Shenji Palace, flowing through our entire bodies, and feeling the energy swirling, this rejuvenating energy swirling through your body. And coming deeper into that space of deep time, of timeless time, of emptiness. Imagine your observer observing itself through all time. Shen, Ji, Shen, Ji, Shen, Ji, Shen, Ji. Allowing your form to dissolve, 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 relax, opening, disappearing. Shen, Ji, Shen, Ji. Merging with the entire universe. Merging with our Mingjue collective field. Merging with all time. Merging with all space. Shen, Chi, Shen. Allowing the head inner space to dissolve and disappear. Shu, shu. Allowing the neck inner space to dissolve and disappear. Shu. Shu. Allowing the shoulders, arms, and hands, the heart space, lungs, and breasts to dissolve and disappear. Shu. allowing the upper back to disappear. Shoo. Allowing Huanyan Palace, all the organs, liver, gallbladder, spleen, stomach, intestines, pancreas, to dissolve and disappear, becoming pure chi. Shu. Allowing lower dantian, kidneys, bladder, reproductive organs, pelvis, to dissolve and disappear into chi. Shu. Shu. Allowing the spine, all the nervous system to dissolve and disappear. Shu. Shu. Allowing the legs to dissolve, disappear. Shu. Allowing your entire body to become empty and open, to dissolve and disappear. Shu. We are merged with all of the empty space of the universe. We are one. And we infuse this space with Mingjue love, Mingjue peace, Mingjue happiness, Mingjue gratitude, Mingjue acceptance. We are Mingjue love. We are Mingjue peace. We are Mingjue happiness. We are Mingjue gratitude. receiving the transmission of deep time from our Mingjue entirety field, from our relationships with stones, and I'll close the session here tonight so that you can stay here for as long as you wish, sending you all off with love and appreciation, gratitude for our beautiful nature healing community. And I look forward to healing and celebrating with you next time we meet. Until then, Haola, Haola, Haola. Good night.